Last but not least, I'd like you to work with me on page 31, just that next page. And first we're going to test your eyes again. Just want you to take less than a minute, look for the half steps in the first line. And remember, since you don't see any accidentals, the built-in half steps were where the two white keys come together with no black key in between. So my suggestion would be look for those. All right, so did you find half steps between F and E in the first measure? E and F, I should say, B and C in that bass clef one, and then C and B in the last one. Now the next line asks you to look for whole steps. So again, they're working you to understand what's happening with the white keys, white key half steps. So I'll give you a hint. Look for some notes that have been adjusted to make whole steps over those two white keys together. Okay, so I hope you pushed pause if you needed more time. You can see a whole step happening right there at the beginning of that first measure between C and B flat. Then, where do we see the next whole step happening? Between F and E flat in the next one, right? And then in the last measure, where do we see the whole step happening? Between E and F sharp, right? So, one of the things we can learn from this is when I was telling you about the one on the opposite page, the accidentals were clues to us that half-step things were happening. But what they're showing you in this exercise is you can have half steps and not have an accidental if you're working with the two half steps with the white keys. And you can have whole steps using an accidental if they need you to make a whole step around those two white keys together. They're going to need to put an accidental, either a sharp or a flat. All right, last but not least on this page is going to be, I'm going to play an assortment of scales for you. You have the 6 blue boxes. If it sounds like a chromatic scale, because it's not going to be in the same format that we always do our scales. They've doctored them up a little bit. If it sounds like a chromatic scale, working with half steps more than anything else, then the chromatics are very obvious. You'll be able to tell. But then I want you to circle chromatic if it's a half step, major if it's just a regular scale. Okay. So here's your first one. I'll do it one more time. And that was a chromatic scale. Here's your next one. And one more time. And that is a major scale. All right, next. And one more time. That would be a chromatic. Next, this would be number 4. And again, that would be chromatic as well. Number 5. One more time. And finally, number 6. I forgot to tell you what the number 5 was though, didn't I? Sorry. That was major. And here's number 6 again.